By the way, I also want to add, in addition to sharing, James says we're rolling right now. Subscribe to our live feed. I don't know how to do that, but apparently there's a subscribe button.
Top right, you click follow or something like that. And Lisa Draplik had the answer for us last week.
Well, maybe she's still here. She's
still here. Right now. Lisa's always here.
Let's talk. Welcome back to that camera, and this camera here. Let's talk about joy and sorrow. I'm gonna let you kick this one off because I have some thoughts, but they really come on the parallel of yours.
Yeah. So, okay. So where do I want to? I was thinking about this the other day when we knew we were going to talk about this, and there's a lot that I could say about this topic. Mm-hmm. So I decided to start with something that we often hear from people when we're coaching or interviewing people to come into our programs. Yes. And one of the very common things we hear from people is, I have all the reasons to be happy, but I just can't feel it. Yeah. The typical happiness factors in life, finances, a healthy relationship, good fitness, they have all the extraneous factors, but they just cannot feel the depth of it. There's there's this void, there's this numbness. Sure. And so I think so many people don't understand that. And there's a lot of people who make the choice to kind of go through life that way, with that disconnect and not really feeling at the degree that they can feel. Sure. So inevitably what happens, and we experience this all the time when we're coaching people, inevitably what happens is we call what we call poking the bear. Yep. We poke the bear a little bit, and all of a sudden we start to uncover that there's a lot of negativity, limiting beliefs, stories going on in this person's world.
Limiting beliefs especially.
Yes, absolutely. In this person's world that are actually affecting the degree to which they're able to feel the good things. So now, how does that round out to the point of joy and sorrow? Yeah. The human mind, heart, body is programmed in such a way that we can't feel all of one thing and nothing of the other. Yep. So you can't feel complete and utter happiness if you have negativity that you're numbing. And a lot of us, what we end up doing with negative emotions is, if they're not coming outside of us, we're suppressing them. Yep. So if you're walking around feeling a little bit numb in life and wishing that you could feel happier, be more joyful, don't ask yourself, how do I get happier? Ask yourself, what are you actually suppressing? What is the emotion? What is the sorrow, the negativity that you're not allowing yourself to feel because it hurts too much?
I love that. I mean, and it's so counterintuitive, isn't it?
Of course.
Because the real thing is, like, we get this question all the time. How do I feel happier? Yeah. How do I have more success in fitness and business and relationships? Mm-hmm. How do I enhance my self-esteem, my self-worth? Our answer is one that it tends to confuse people in the first time they hear it. Yeah. But within the next breath, they understand it. Yeah. The question is not, how do I become happier? The question is, let's remove the limitations for why you're unhappy now. Yeah. We're born happy. Mm-hmm. We're born with self-worth. We're born with all the success potential. It doesn't go away. We hide it.
Sure.
Layers of influence and experience come on top of us, and that creates stories which reside in our unconscious, and that becomes the belief systems and the expectations and the perceptions we have, all of which drive our actions, habits, and behaviors. The happiness, the self-love, the success potential doesn't go away. It gets layered upon. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's about excavating to go get it, right? Nothing external ourselves is ever going to make us happy. And what a great topic to be talking about on Black Friday.
Right, of course.
Where so much of America rushes to the store to try to fill a void that they feel but they don't talk about. They try to retail therapize. Right. Right? Is that a word, therapize?
It is now.
Therapize. We're using it, right? So it really is counterintuitive the way we frame it, but it's the most powerful thing to understand. Our entire unlayering system, our entire mindset, let's eliminate your limit system, is based off of a 4-point process. We call it the 4 A's, right? Acceptance. Accept that life is not the reality you see. Life is the current perspective you have, right? That's the first place. You have to accept that. Once you do, you move into awareness. Once you accept that life is not the reality you have, it's the perspective you're holding, what is that perspective? Right. That's what trips a lot of people up. And here's why. Because awareness doesn't always feel good. Awareness does not always feel good. Awareness can hurt. We think, we've been taught, we even lull ourselves into this kind of delusion that we've done the work internally because now we feel better. Whereas 3 years ago, we didn't feel better. We felt horrible. But very often what we've done is not the work to change our perspective. We've just created massive avoidance patterns.
Absolutely.
Mentally, emotionally, and in the physical world. We avoid more than anything else. Yeah. So awareness can sting, awareness can hurt. But what we're trying to help people understand is that if you cannot feel, because you refuse to, the challenge, the sorrow of life, then you will never feel the ultimate happiness.
Yeah.
If you cannot feel the fear, because you're avoiding, of the lack of success, for example, in business, that you're just scared to death you won't ever be able to make it. If you choose to never feel that, then you cannot feel the success as it starts to roll. And this is a very important point, because how many people in relationships have everything they need, they want? They're, for all intents and purposes, they have what they always wanted, but they keep striving for more because they don't feel the fulfillment. How many people in business always, and we have clients who fit this category, they have millions of dollars. They have a massive impact with their company, but they don't feel satisfied. So rather than pursuing more because they want to, they pursue more to keep filling the void they feel. If you don't ever feel the fear, the sorrow, the sadness, all of that stuff, the anxiety, then you won't ever feel the joy, the elation, the fulfillment, the satisfaction.
Absolutely.
And this is so true on so many levels, but one of the ways it's true is through our own experience. You and I were the poster children of coasting through life.
Yeah.
Oh, we were happy. I'm always happy. Everything's great. Until we started going through our own awareness cycles, and all of a sudden things started falling around us that didn't feel very good. And that was a challenge for us at first, in the first week or so. Do you remember the challenge? But it ended up, but yeah, right. But now, here's the thing: we did cry all the time. But you know what? Now we cry all the time again. We cry for different reasons. We cry because of the gratitude we feel.
Of course.
We cry because of the blessings we know we have. Because the universe, it's an emotive engine. You have to feel in order to receive. You have to feel in order to give. So the feeling, the emotive mechanism is so important, and yet it's dormant in most people because they refuse to feel the negative. So that's massive.
You know, you said, I took like 5 notes, and because I think this is such an important topic. So many human beings are turned off emotionally.
Yes.
And it's such a dangerous place to be. I mean, being turned off emotionally. The thing is that being turned off emotionally, you're not actually turned off. Numb means that the emotions are being suppressed, which means they're going into your body, and we all know from a health perspective that that's not healthy.
There's a connection.
You know, suppressing negative emotion and feelings, that only serves to actually cause physical illness, right? So we know that that's not important, but you know, as you were talking, I was reflecting on my own journey with this, and that you alluded to it, because you know, 6 years ago, I thought I was the happiest I've ever been.
That's right.
You know what? 6 years ago, I was the happiest I had ever been at that point in time.
Sure.
But there's that line where you think that you're happy enough.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things I always like try to encourage people to see is that there should never be an enough.
No.
Don't accept that there's enough of anything, because what I've learned over the last 6 years for sure is that just when I think that I'm happy enough, I move on to like even greater happiness, right? So it's not, we always tell people, and this is such simplistic language, but it's not the bad thing or the good things that keep you stuck. It's the negative things that do.
That's right.
So being aware of that it is your path to freedom, your path to happiness, and greater feeling in life. You know.
Let me close out with this last comment on this, because you said, and I love the language, you know, there's never enough, right? So here's where I want to dissect that, because there is a very strong spiritual and a very strong materialistic component to that. Both of which have good and bad connotations, okay? We live in an abundant universe. There is never enough because there is an endless supply. There is an endless supply of good and positive and happy and finance and love and every peace. There's an endless supply of it if we choose to access it.
Of course.
Right? So that abundance is something that people give name value to. They often talk about gratitude and abundance, and that they write it out in their journals and they talk about it in almost like a flowery way. But there is some delusion, because what they're actually saying, and if this applies to you, give this a strong consideration, is that you are claiming abundance, you are claiming that you have enough out of fear and scarcity, because you don't know if you could have more, you don't know if you're worth more, you're afraid that if you ask for more or want for more or declare your desire for more, it may be a greedy kind of thing. If you're lacking for money, if you're lacking for self-love, if you're lacking for relational love, if you're lacking for peace and tranquility and harmony, then you're living too shallow in this amazingly abundant universe.
Right.
There is an endless supply for all of us, provided we understand that the pendulum swings. We have to feel the bad in order to feel the good. But when we do, oh my, life changes.
It really
just so dramatically.
It really does.
So J.G. Saunders is going to cut us out of this one. I want to say a quick couple things.